how do you go from like, okay, this is the end of this?
Okay, so new levels, new devils. So yeah, I'm always in new battle.
I think we were talking about Colorado.
Yeah. So our model at Big was big. We had big rooms. So it was like what 100.
You say to like a younger version.
Oh wow.
Yourself.
Wow. So so she asked me that, and at this moment I knew I wanted to do it.
Welcome back to another episode of Blissful Beings. I'm your host, Janine Cascio, the CEO and founder of Simple Lending Financial. And today we have a very special guest with us, Nancy Perry. Nancy, do you mind introducing yourself to our audience?
Sure. So my name is Nancy Perry, and I'm the co-founder of this space that we're in right now. It's called Valor. It's a power yoga, leadership, and wellness community and space. And I've done lots of different things on my entrepreneurial journey, and that's what I'm doing right now. And I'm also the author of this book, Little Shifts for a Big Life. And I write a daily blog also. It was, what created this book. And most importantly, I'm a mom and a wife, and I'm so happy to be here with you.
Yes, thank you. And I feel like I've manifested this because I've been wanting to get you on the podcast for so long. You're a mentor for me. I come to Valor a ton. So does Jamie, my boyfriend. And we just look up to you. You know, you're such a leader. You're such a powerful person. I'm so happy to have you. So my first question for you is really like your why, right? Because to be an entrepreneur, to be a leader, to like kind of like show up every day for others and lead with impact like that, you really have to have this like deep why and purpose. And I'm just curious of what yours is.
That's a great question. So, a long answer. I'm going to make it as short as I can. And as early as I can remember when I was little, I knew that I wanted to do something that really made an impact. I remember being like, why do people do jobs they hate? Like, why do people settle? Like, I just really couldn't grasp it. And I always knew that what I would do would be something that felt different and unique, but also something that really served others. I actually looked at going to college for social work, and I didn't actually end up going for fashion design, which that didn't end up working out. But and as I grew up, especially as I did gymnastics growing up, and that was such a pillar in my life. And as I transitioned out of that pillar and that stability, I developed a lot of different mental health issues, eating disorders, things like that. And those experiences really pulled me away from like that innocence and my heart's desire that I had when I was little. So by the time I went to school for fashion design, it was like a really, really tough time of my life. And I felt so resigned, so disconnected from what had previously been important to me. My strategy for life at that point, as I was looking for college and entering into college, was like, how do I protect myself from really how hard the world is to feel? So really disconnected from who I was as a kid. And long story short, failed out of school, so I don't have a traditional education. Failed out on purpose, but my parents wouldn't let me leave, all that kind of stuff. And then a friend of mine who knew that I was having a tough time was like, you should come to yoga. And that invitation completely changed my life because the practice brought me back to that. Yeah, that innocence. And then when I did my first yoga teacher training, and I really started to more deeply understand what yoga was about, it's really about service. And I remember that moment. It was maybe my second day in this training, and I was like, I had this big sense of relief. I was like, oh my God, I finally found a way to serve. Wow. That like really lights me up, and that I love, and that it changed my life so much. I just had to go share it with other people.
Yeah, but how did you start big? Because like it's one thing to be a yoga teacher, right? There's a lot of people that are yoga teachers, but like to be the entrepreneur, to be the studio owner, and like you had multiple locations, right?
Yeah. Wow. So all of this, I'm from Philadelphia. Did my first teacher training in Philadelphia. My husband is from Houston. My boyfriend at the time, he asked me to move down back to Houston with him. And I was like, well, I was having a tough time. I was like, I could use a fresh start. So we moved back down. He moved back down here. I moved here for the first time. And the thing that was missing for me was that the community was one of the biggest things that had changed my life. It's the studio that I practiced at, did my teacher training at in Philadelphia. And it wasn't here. So I spent a lot of time being kind of miserable about that and being kind of like a dick to me, as we all do. And finally I was like, wow, no one's come to save me. And the beautiful thing about that point in my life, and it was just hidden, kind of nestled inside of, I had like all this self-blame, all this negative self-talk for dropping out of school, not knowing enough, not doing enough, blah, blah, blah. But it's that I just felt like I really didn't have anything to lose.
Wow.
Like I was 20, when we ended up opening big, I was 27. So Justin and I weren't even married yet. We didn't have kids. I didn't have a career. I was invested in.
Okay, like
exactly, 100%.
So powerful.
And it came down to that. A friend of mine asked me a question. She was like, Nancy, if you were going to give a talk at a high school graduation, what would you say?
Oh, I love that because one of my questions is always like, what would you say to like a younger version of yourself?
Wow. So she asked me that, and at this moment I knew I wanted to do it, but I had so much insecurity, and I was so scared. So I knew I had this dream. I wanted to do it. My friend was like, just ask me that question, and the answer just came right out. The answer is, I would tell them that fear is going to try to stop you. Go anyways. And then in that moment, I was like, well, dang it. Like, the only reason I'm not doing this is because I'm scared.
Yeah. I say that mantra a lot when I'm like about the public speech, because that was always like a fear of mine. And now I created a podcast. I like put myself in that environment.
Exactly.
It's wild. So how did you go from having big, like, to be like kind of like willing to like almost like walk away? I don't want to say walk away.
Yeah, for sure.
It's such a part of your life, but how do you go from like, okay, this is the end of this?
Okay, so new levels, new devils. So I'm always going to be battling fear, and we all are, right? It's part of the human experience. And big was something I started when I was 27, and I'm now 40. And so that was 13 years. And I mean, really, the pandemic changed everything.
Yeah.
In my mind, my goal when we at first opened big in our first maybe 5 years of operation was we'll have somewhere between 10 and 15 locations, which is why we started to expand out of Houston. We had 2 in Houston, and then we said, okay, well, it's time to go somewhere else. So we went to Colorado.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's why we went to Denver. And then my business partner and I also opened a studio in Steamboat, Colorado that she still owns there. I sold my to her. And so we thought it would be like we go to like all these cool cities.
Yeah.
And then, things changed.
Yeah.
And it was such a dance of giving ourselves the correct amount of time to recreate or really just kind of see what.
I think we were talking about Colorado.
Yeah. So our model at Big was big. We had big rooms. So it was like put 100 people in a room, and obviously, like COVID just changed all of that. Everything it was a giant shakeup. And I always say I value a good shakeup in retrospect. So it really changed things, and I worked diligently to recover Big as we knew it in that model, which was a lot of people in. A lot of teachers, a lot of class times, and I absolutely love what we created at Big. I would say it's my first love letter to the world. And there was a point, maybe a year before I made the decision, it was kind of an evolving decision. And writing the book had a big part to do with that. That really felt like a big rite of passage as since Big opened, obviously I've cultivated my skill sets, and what I'm most passionate about has changed. And what I'm most passionate about in the practice is what it gives us off the mat and teaching and leading and doing that work. So I wanted to shift my energy to do really what I love, and not, I think doing what you love is important. And I also think it's contributing value is important when it comes to, it's not just about doing what you love. And I know that my greatest contribution is doing more work like this and being a direct facilitator rather than scattering my energy on the business and that old yoga studio and gym model. So it was a big decision, yet I'm just so grateful I came to it. I wanted to be able to focus my energy and do what I do best, knowing that would not only help me with receiving the return on investment for my energy, it's also going to help me deliver a better service and make a better contribution. So it was tough, but the moment I decided, it was just so powerful. I've been telling everyone since, like, you're an entrepreneur and you want to make a change, completing things is so powerful if you do it well. Because we thought about all the different ways to do it. We could just rebrand it and do a price hike and like change the but it felt better just to complete what it was.
Wow.
And start with like a brand new fresh start.
I love that. And now we're here, right? So like tell us a little bit more about Valor, and like if someone wants to become a member, like what can they expect?
Yeah. So we do yoga for sure. That's at the core of what we do. Well, transformation is the core of what we do. And we've brought together a few things that we feel like are at the foundation of what it is to live a life where you're always transforming into that next level of who you're meant to be. So yoga, and in particular, we do like hot, sweaty, power vinyasa yoga for the most part. We do some other stuff too, but that's like the core of what we do. And then we do leadership development work. Yeah, it's so fun. We get to do that together. And then we do wellness, like ice baths and infrared light therapy, and we'll be expanding all of that. And time in nature is a huge part of what we do also. So we're not membership only, but we're membership leaning in that the folks that come here are super committed to the lifestyle and super committed to the practice. So if you want to join us, all you need to do is sign up and come. That's it. You can do it from my Instagram page, from the By Way of Valor website, from By Way of Valor on Instagram. You can just sign up and come on in and check out your first session.
How do people get your book?
Amazon. Little Shifts for a Big Life. You can buy it directly from there, or you can go to my website. It's called nancyperry.life. And the best part about that website is I write a blog every single day, with the exception of Sunday. So 6 days a week. I've done it since 2016. So it's got thousands of posts on there. And the nature of the book and the blog is it's meant to be direct and clear and practical, that you can read it and be like, oh, wow, I'm going to go take that and apply it to my day right now. So you can find it at nancyperry.life and Amazon.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being on Blissful Beings. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me.